What's up, everybody? James Duggan here with Tayfeebing.
What up?
As you may well know, Blizzcon 2016 is right around the corner, and we can definitely expect a new Hearthstone expansion. They have this kind of biannual cadence that they release expansions as well as adventures. But we want to talk to you today about what we want personally as players. Tate, how many times have you hit Legend?
7 or 8.
So
I've lost count.
Eight-time Legend-winning Hearthstone player Tayfeebing here, and you kind of created a little list. So why don't you take us away?
Yeah, I think we're trying to think of like what do we want Blizzard to get out of this expansion. Kind of the top of a lot of people's lists, and I know from conversations I've had with other players, like Priest is a focus. Like, let's get some good Priest cards out of this expansion. That class has been in the gutter for a while now.
Sure, and I think the problem there lies in the Classic set. So would you want to see, in addition to that, maybe changes to the Classic card set for Priest?
I don't expect them to change much as part of this expansion. I think they just need some powerhouse cards to swing the games in favor of Priest to get to the late game where they can take advantage.
So in terms of the nerfs and buffs of cards we've seen in the past, Rogues, specifically Blade Flurry, has been at the center of that. That was maybe one of the hardest hit cards in the entire game, totally unplayable at this point. And you were saying that Rogue weapons haven't really stepped it up where that design space opened.
Yeah, they got rid of one of Rogue's best tools to win games by clearing the board and doing some face damage with Blade Flurry, by removing the face damage, upping it to 4 mana. It hasn't been played since. That change was done to open design space for weapons for the class, and since that change, we haven't seen a rogue weapon. So expecting to see at least one rogue weapon coming out in this expansion.
Yeah, not the terrible, what was that, Poisoned Blade?
That was pretty bad.
Awful. Maybe the worst weapon in the entire game. And then let's move over to Arena for a second. And Mage, since launch, has been a very dominant force in Arena because of Flame Strike. And now with Faceless Summoner, which you actually pointed out has been removed from Arena because of how powerful it is, as well as Firelands Portal, they are just still a dominant Arena pick.
Yeah, basically the only thing we want to see on Mage on this is just for them to know that Arena's out of control. Firelands Portal coming out as a common meant that it just kind of controlled Arena when it came out. And Mage continues to just get awesome Arena cards expansion after expansion. So I think Mage needs great cards. Obviously you want every class to have good cards, but some of the Arena powerhouse cards we'd like to see not go to Mage this time around.
Sure, and I would hope that would at least be a consideration for the rarity of the card, to not have it be a common. And let's talk about something that I've been wanting since release, and that is legendary spells as well as weapons.
Oh, yeah.
Frostmourne. I couldn't even think of some other spells, maybe like a Sunder for the Shaman that just completely annihilates everything, but tell me your thoughts there.
It's a space we haven't explored yet. There's certainly weapons and spells that would merit legendary status. Once you make a card legendary, it opens it up to be more powerful than what they're working with normally because you can only have one in the deck. So it's a really cool space they can go into with spells and weapons to make something that is above and beyond what they currently have, because right now they have to consider, like, is this card too powerful to have 2 copies in it? When Call of the Wild came out, people thought that might have been a good candidate for a legendary spell just because of how big of a tool it was.
Yeah, it's a very big tempo spell.
And they ended up nerfing that instead, but I think this expansion, introducing legendary spells or legendary weapons would be awesome. There's some great classic WoW weapons that would be sweet to add to the game.
And kind of in that same vein, we were talking about Frostmourne just then, and that, of course, brings us to the conversation about the Death Knight. You may have seen all over the internet, since Hearthstone's release, people have been kind of conceptualizing this Death Knight class, which we would hope would someday see its place in Hearthstone, because right now it only has the classic 9 classes. What do you think that would look like?
Everyone assumes it's going to be Arthas. I mean, there really is.
I mean, it has to be. There's going to be Ner'zhul now.
I don't know if it fits the theme of the expansion, but it would still be. Every year they kind of announce, for a lot of years they were announcing big changes to WoW when they introduced new races and new classes. That just hasn't happened in Hearthstone yet. We haven't seen a new class, and we're 4 or 5 years into the game now.
Sure.
Now seems like as good a time as any.
Yeah, I think that would get a lot of people kind of reinvigorated in what is a very good place that the game is in right now. But anyway, let's wrap it up with one of my favorite ideas, this idea of the co-op brawl we've seen before. I think it was like this Mechzilla or whatever that was. But I would love to play there. I have a lot of friends who play Hearthstone, and our skill levels are all over the place. And it's really not a great experience to play against one another. So what I would want to see is a co-op specific adventure or mode in an expansion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be great. I think it's a huge design challenge for Blizzard, but every once in a while they'll just knock our socks off and give us something that we didn't expect. A co-op mode in Hearthstone would be rad.
We have seen that co-op role, so we do know that it is a possibility and they can do it. Tate, thank you so much for putting this list together.
Yeah, absolutely.
For everybody watching at home, make sure you check out our BlizzCon 2016 coverage right here on IGN.